Hello, and welcome back to the Beer Ladies podcast. I am today's host, Hilary Gray. In this episode, we will be talking about all things related to Valentine's Day. So, we're going to have stories about beery Valentines and how to pick a Valentine beer for the one that you love. Before I introduce my co-hosts, just a quick reminder that we are on YouTube for those who prefer to watch, as well as wherever you get your podcasts for those who prefer to listen. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and leave us a rating or share this podcast with a friend. Let's meet today's co-hosts. So with me today, I'm joined by Katie Malone.
Hey.
Hello. Hi, Katie. Thandi.
Hello.
And Carolyn.
Hi. And Fievel, my friend.
And Fievel. Yes, that's right.
The great American mouse.
All
Hilary,
right,
I
ladies.
was about to laugh. I was about to laugh if you tried to attempt my surname.
I was like, oh shit, I said Katie Malone, and now I'm like,
Oh, it's okay.
It just sounds so cool though. Katie Malone.
Katie Malone.
That's
like
true. You do have a cool name.
Yeah. And yeah, I was like, I don't think I can pronounce Thandi's name. I could do a stab at it, but I don't think it would work. So grab your drink and let's get into it. Okay, before we start, can I please just ask everybody, what you drinking? Katie, what you drinking?
So I am drinking a Big Bunny East Coast style IPA from Kinnegar.
Always a
Ooh,
winner.
lovely. How's it taste?
It's very nice. It's really delicious. It is 6%. It's brewed in Donegal. What has it got in it? There's oats along with wheat, barley, water,
Nice.
hops, and yeast.
Sounds like
I always like oats in an IPA.
Sounds like breakfast.
It doesn't taste like breakfast.
Well, it could.
It could, definitely. Yeah, it's really, really nice. It's a nice IPA.
Awesome.
That's
Thandi,
awesome.
what you drinking?
Alrighty, I've got a new one tonight. It is from Larkins. It is they've launched what seems to be like a low cost range of beers. So they've got one which is a Pilsner, which I had yesterday, which was lovely, and today I'm trying the session IPA called Revolver, and they're definitely budget friendly, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, this one it's 4%, so that's great. And it's got Centennial, Citra, Idaho 7, and then the usual suspects: barley, hops, water. Cool package though. Check that.
Nice.
So for those
And
listening, like a skeleton riding a motorbike, and it's all these kind of retro cool colors. Very nice.
And I love it that they're starting to think about like a multi-pack of craft beers that is just a little bit cheaper than.
It was interesting because they only come in packs of 8, so you can't buy them individually, but actually for the pack of 8 it was like €12, which is really very, very reasonable. So whereas normally I would have been a little bit cautious of buying 8 at a time of something new, I thought, well, for that price, like it's okay, I can take the risk.
Sure.
And actually they were both great. Like the Pilsner is really nice, and I'm enjoying this one so far. It's quite citrusy, really like orange. I get a lot of orange from it, so yeah, I'm enjoying that one.
Great. Carolyn, what you
Excellent.
drinking?
I'm drinking a blue raspberry lemonade sour from Southern Heights. It is very good.
Wow.
It tastes like blue
Yum.
raspberry and lemonade, everything you could want, and it is a very nice greenish blue
What?
teal
Oh my God.
color. So I feel like I'm drinking like a radioactive
That
drink.
is a St. Patrick's Day beer, if ever I saw one. You don't even have to
Good
add dye.
point.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think they meant it to be that color for St. Patrick's Day, but now I will go pick up some more for St.
But-
Patrick's Day.
Awesome.
do you not feel weird drinking a green beer?
Well, no, because it's blue, because it has like raspberry, like it's blue raspberry lemonade, like that's the name of it. So you expect it to be like this bluish, greenish color.
And for
I
people
drink
who
it.
No.
are on YouTube,
You
it's
wouldn't
very
drink it,
green.
Hilary?
I would. No, I would.
No.
100% would.
Yeah,
You
it
drink
tastes
it?
good. It tastes
12 out of 10 I would drink.
That's awesome. Hilary, what are you drinking tonight?
I have Tart Lychee
Oh, there
by
you go.
New Belgium Brewing. which is based out of Colorado, and it's one of my favorite breweries. And actually, it's a tropical sour. And actually, I will say, and this is New Belgium is not paying me or anything, but it was definitely the best brewery tour I've ever been on. Brewery tours do tend to kind of be a dime a dozen, but this one they went out of their way to make it really fun and really enjoyable. So, and their beers are so well made.
What did they do differently, Hilary? Like, what made it so cool, that brewery tour?
They did this standard where they take you around and show you everything, but they also talked a lot about what it was like to work there. And they had, like, to get to different places, they had stuff like slides and things where you slide down and you get to the next room. And yeah, it was just very, very fun, and lots of samples along the way, very generous samples, I will say.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was probably what made it stand out in my mind so much. Yeah, it was a
I
great
think we
great
should put
tour.
that message out there. If you're going to do brewery tour, samples are good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the
Lots of
experience sounds
samples
fun.
along the way. It was a lot of fun. And then their tap room is great. Everything. I just love New Belgium. So Carolyn, if you ever get out to Colorado, highly recommend.
I have a couple friends that live in Colorado, so
Cool.
I wanted to make a side note. Southern Heights is located in Austin, so if you're in Austin, go check them out. They are great. They make good sours and IPAs. They have all types of beers, which is nice.
Cheers.
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 Let's try not to spill beer on the work laptop.
Ooh, this is good.
Exactly.
Is it good? So tart lychee. I mean, I've only ever known lychee as lychee, but fair enough. I've never thought of that in a beer. I think that would be very, very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they describe it as this fan favorite features the floral, sweet, and fruit juicy stone fruit called lychee or lychee or lychee. They have both pronunciations in there, blended with our something aged golden sour fooder aged golden sour for a burst of tropical acidity and finished with the sweet spice of Saigon cinnamon for an intriguing finish. I thought I tasted cinnamon.
Interesting.
It's really nice. The Malloy's on Thomas Street has it, so
good to know.
Okay, so Valentine's Day, let's kick off with some stories. Let's talk a little bit about some history, and I think Katie, you have a story for us.
Well, I just have a little bit of information, seeing as I am a native Irish person, that the remains of St. Valentine's are located on a church on Ainger Street in Dublin.
No way.
So it's Whitefriar. I know. It's Whitefriar Church. You can, well, obviously they're all closed now due to level 5 lockdown in Ireland. But yeah, you can go there and say hi to St. Valentine. So a lot of people would propose there.
Oh.
That's kind of
it's
cute.
quite romantic. Yeah, isn't it?
I mean, not in a weird way, because there's remains of St. Valentine.
It's like, here's a corpse. Will you marry me?
It's not weird. It's unique. There we go.
It is. It's sweet.
It's definitely emo. Like, come on. That must be where the goths do it, right? Yes.
Yeah. It's a goth Valentine.
Yeah, that's awesome. Carolyn and Christina and I would be so into that.
Yes. I think Christina might be a little bit more into it than I am, but I think it's super cool.
And yeah, I'm not a historian or a medievalist, so I don't have all the backstories like Christina and Lisa, though, but I just thought I would mention it.
Cool.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I wish I would have known that.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to kick off the episode. So
I'd love to go and see that once level 5 is over.
Oh yeah, definitely. Count me in, Thandi. I'm there with you.
I'll come when I come back and visit.
Yay.
Stop.
Carolyn, you might get a proposal from Hilary, so you know.
You might.
Oh yeah, that's right.
My wife.
Please, can I record that? That'd be so fun. So I've got one for you guys. I mean, everybody got into beer differently, right? But there was a year, many years ago, when my now husband Ashley and I had just started dating. So we started dating in like, I think the June, and our first Valentine's together. So now it was like 6 or 8 months later. We were going to get our first Valentine's presents, and these things are normally quite a big deal in a new relationship. So there was a website that kind of did a mixed beer delivery stuff, those kinds of services. We each got each other the same gift, which is a box of beer, which was really funny. But he actually went one further and he got a homebrew kit alongside with it. I mean, in hindsight, his present was much better than mine, but it was cool because we didn't obviously know what the other was getting, or what the vibe of the Valentine's was going to be. It cemented that beer was going to be like a big part of our relationship from the get-go, and that was the start of my homebrewing interest, I guess. It's almost half a pity because Ash doesn't like brewing as much as I do anymore. He used to, but I still brew. So we've generally got something going, and it all started because of some random Valentine's Day gift.
I mean, it's so romantic though that you both
Amazing.
That's cute.
got the same gift for each other.
Yeah,
I like that.
I love
it
it.
was pretty sweet. We had 2 cases of beer to like get through, and it didn't take that long, but it was fun to try all the new beers. It was
Yeah,
it
for
was
sure.
good. Yeah.
I'm not a big Valentine's Day person. Well, I kind of am. My boyfriend is not, but he
Oh,
does it for
I
me.
hear you, Hilary. I hear you, Hilary. Except mine is dragged kicking and screaming into Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Insofar as it's like you order yourself something now.
right. Yeah. He does it for me, which is nice. But I am a big take that again. I am a big fan of Galentine's Day, so love celebrating with my girls. I have spent a couple of Valentines with Kelly, who has been a guest on the podcast before. And a lot of time it involves a lot of Prosecco or wine or something like that. Does anybody have a story about a beery Valentine? Like, so apart from Thandi's story, which got her into homebrewing, which is amazing. Katie or Carolyn, do you guys have a story?
One of the breweries in Austin, Adelberts, however you want to pronounce it. Anyways, the brewery in Austin, and they had like a singles night. And so we played like singles bingo, and you had to like go around and like sign each other's things, like find somebody that's never lived in Texas, or like just random
That's so
stuff.
cool.
So that was kind of fun. Actually, my friend met her boyfriend there. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, that's nice.
That's such a clever idea. Meet anybody interesting?
Well, you always meet people interesting at breweries.
That's true.
It's Austin.
Well, that too. But then last year me and a bunch of girls went out on Valentine's Day and just went to different pubs. This was right before lockdown. Thinking about it now.
Yeah. Hilary, I'd never actually heard of Galentines until this year. And I'm ashamed to admit I only just clicked as to what it actually means. Like I've never heard of it, so that's really cool. Girls, like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
although I wonder.
The first time I did it with Kelly, we just went out for brunch and had a nice day, like did brunch and some shopping. It was really nice. It was just 2 of us. And then the next time I went out to Kelly's house in Kildare, and we met up with a friend of hers, and there was much Prosecco and wine consumed that evening. So
I think that sounds.
And I know that Leslie Nope
yes,
is big into her Galentines on Parks and Recreation.
That's where I got it from. Was Parks and Rec. Leslie Nope, Amy Poehler's character in Parks and Recreation, did Galentine's Day, and I just love that concept. And actually, now that I think about it, before that, so you guys probably can hear in my accent that I'm an American. I grew up in Michigan, and I had a very still have a very close friend back there, but back home. And we used to spend not only Valentine's Day together because we were generally single most of the time, but we also spent our birthdays together because our birthdays are 2 days apart. So we did everything together, and we went out for a romantic dinner and went out to a dance club for Valentine's Day one year. It was so much fun. So I
That
love
sounds awesome.
just, yeah, I love doing Valentine's with the girls.
I mean, it sounds like it's the easiest way to not be disappointed and to have no expectations, because I think even when you're in a relationship, it's not always about these kind of once a year occasions anymore. There's kind of everyday stuff, or there's big stuff, or there's small stuff, but it's really not about Valentine's anymore. I mean, I think I looked at Ash the other day and I said, what are we doing for Valentine's this year? And he's like, I don't know, what do you want to do? Because really it becomes, maybe you spend like some time together, maybe you have a nicer dinner than normal, but it's not a thing like when you're maybe pursuing somebody or first dating like that. That's, I think, when it's quite eventful.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Thandi. It's just another day of the week, really. But
Although
it's just another reason to buy beer.
Well,
Not
speaking
that you
of
need
that,
an excuse, you know?
no, who does? I mean, but speaking of which, there was something that I noticed, and I wanted to see if you ladies have noticed it as well. This year, I've noticed that a lot of the adverts and things for Valentine's specials for beer boxes and whatnot are not as targeted only to men as what they've always been before. So this year I've noticed that it's kind of like not gendered, whereas before it was always like beer for him and prosecco for her, or beer for him, wine for her. And often the way that I saw it was that breweries would partner up with other distilleries or whatever the case is, so that there was like options in air quotes, for both sides. Firstly, assuming a heterosexual relationship, but secondly, assuming that women don't love beer, which is just stupid. So it has been refreshing this year to see, let's say, less of it. I'm not going to say it's not out there, but I haven't seen much of it, especially in terms of Irish breweries. I think a lot of people have come out with beer boxes, but it's not targeted, which is awesome. So good.
Well,
good
I have
on everyone.
I have ordered the love box from Rascals, and it has beer and it has a box of Lily O'Brien's chocolates in it. So
Lovely.
There you go.
Beer and chocolate.
Two of the main food groups, wasn't it? Beer,
yes.
beer, chocolate, and cheese.
Yeah, there we go.
I saw that, yes. And to your point, Thandi, I think it's fantastic that it's being targeted toward women, because I think maybe there's a bit more cop on now that we are half of your demographic and we do like beer.
I think it's not just that it's targeted towards women, because that would almost be the problem. It's that it's not targeted at all.
Yes,
It's
sorry. Yes. Yeah.
lovers,
sorry.
yes.
It's not gendered
exactly
anymore, which
Exactly.
is the goal. That's the dream.
Exactly.
That's the goal. That's what we want to see.
Exactly. So high fives all around.
I would like to see Mother's Day become less Prosecco and flowers orientated.
That's true. That's actually the real test.
Yeah.
That's the real test. Yeah.
Yeah. So
because
any breweries out there listening, Katie would like Mother's Day beer boxes.
Me too, please.
And Thandi would also like that.
Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And I'm sure a lot of other women would like that.
Plenty.
Yeah.
Plenty.
Loads of women, loads of mothers who are beer drinkers would love that.
In protest every year, like, I refuse to buy cards because in any case they're terrible for the environment. But I don't buy cards on occasions, because on Father's Day you always get all the nice cards with like beer and sport, and on Mother's Day you get like flowers and chocolates, and I'm like, I'm so sick of that stereotype. So I just, in protest, not just for the environment, I just don't buy cards, and that's just that, because you don't see it. And I understand sometimes that there might not be as big of a market, but then you know what, you don't make as many. You make 10% of your cards, whatever, cater to other things instead of 90% cater to nonsense. Well, that's not nonsense. A lot of people love it, but there's my rant.
Yeah. Because I get angry when I see the flyers that come in the newspaper for the supermarkets, and it's all like pink and prosecco and rosé wine, and
And orchids,
like any of that.
orchids
Orchids?
everywhere. Orchids for Mother's Day. I keep saying Mother's Day. Orchids for Mother's Day is what I see all the time. Went to Tesco today. Orchids everywhere.
Hey, I'm not going to complain about orchids, to be fair. I love orchids, but
They are
I
pretty.
agree with you. No, I agree with you, though. It shouldn't be so singular, so narrow.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be, you're a woman, so you want flowers, chocolates, and wine or Prosecco.
Yeah.
But if I want beer, chocolate, it's something that's not pink.
So as a nice segue to that, how would you, if you were buying beer for the person that you love or for a friend, how would you go about finding out what types of beer that they might like to drink if you don't already know?
I would ask them or take them to a brewery and be like, see what beer, like if I'm doing it on the sly, I'd just be like, let's go to a brewery and then see what they're drinking, and then I'd get that.
That's a cool
what I
idea.
would do.
Yeah, that works.
I like that too. I must say, I quite like the idea of making it an experience as well. I'd probably order one of a couple of different styles and make a tasting night out of it, and make it experimental, because I'm not, I'd also like to, you probably want to find out, with a potential new partner or with a friend or whatever the case is, you want to see where their tastes lie and whether they indeed even like beer. So, I think that's a nice way to do it without any pressure. But maybe it's also got to do with what kind of food you eat, or, there's often people who, if you like coffee, you'll probably like stouts, or if you like,
Actually, I have a friend who, very, very close friend, who is a massive red wine drinker. She loves red wine. She also really liked Guinness. And I've often heard that red wine drinkers would be have a tendency towards liking stouts. So I brought her to a Galway Bay pub and got her to drink one of the stouts there. I wish I could remember the name of it, but she loved it. She was like, this is amazing. I love the way this tastes. And then I had another friend then who, the three of us used to work together. So the third girl, or woman, I should say woman, not girl, woman, I brought her as well. And she was also a red wine enthusiast. So I had her try it and she absolutely loved that stout as well. So, and it's interesting because I drink red wine, but I'm not a huge fan of stouts. I like the nuttier stouts over the coffee flavor stouts. So it's just, I guess it's just personal preference, but hit a home run there really with both of those women. Like they were like, red wine drinker, we'll have a pint of Guinness. Here, try this one. Oh my God, it has flavor. I love it.
And I think that if you have somebody and they love something like fizzy cola bottles or sour worms, they might like a sour, right?
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
Or they like a more bitter taste. They'll probably like an IPA.
Exactly, because I can't stand fizzy things.
Or if they like not heavier stuff, but like I don't want to put breads for a wheat or like Hefeweizen beer, but like something like, I don't know. I'm trying to think what you would pair with that.
Citrusy things.
And
I've often thought, so I said it in another podcast recording, I can't remember which one now though, that I think if you like white wine, you would probably easily like things like saisons or even sours. But I think saisons for me is the more natural fit, because there is that same slightly tart, slightly funky, slightly acidic kind of taste in them. And
what would be a good match for a dry white wine might be, I had it for the first time recently, was a grisette.
Yes.
I've never had one of those. I'll have to find one.
Katie, I totally agree with you. So Katie and I both recently had the grisette by Whiplash, And I had to Google it. I'd actually never heard of the style, but it's something between a saison and a goza. So it's got some
Ooh.
sourness to it. Yeah, it's got some sourness to it, but it's also got a little bit of kind of funky barnyardiness to it. But it's not as, I mean, some saisons can be quite punchy and in your face. It's not like that. It's actually very sessionable. So you imagine a pared down, like a very light version of a saison with slightly extra tartness, I'd say. And that was what that one tasted like anyway. And now, look, to be fair, I don't know if that is the best example of a grisette because it's only been my first, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I agree with you, Katie. Like, that's a great match for like a dry white wine.
I think so, and it
Mm.
was so sessionable. I could imagine having a few of them on a summer's evening in a beer garden. It's just really nice and light. It was lovely. My first ever grisette as well.
I'm gonna have to look that up because I haven't heard of that style either. So I'll definitely look for that.
I'll have to find
Do you
it.
know what? It's funny because my tastes have changed over the years, which probably a lot of people's have, but I used to really just like sweet wines, and sweeter drinks. And interestingly enough, in 2003 was when I first moved to Europe, and I lived in Prague for a year. And Prague is the land of Pilsners, right? So you've got loads of different types of Pilsners, generally quite bitter. But it was, for me, not as a person who didn't really like bitter beers, I found it very easy to get used to it.
Yes.
I suppose. So yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, and I would be a fan of a drier white wine now, especially in the summer months. Definitely. So yeah, I'll look that up for sure because that sounds incredible.
It does. And I think if you already like saisons and if you already like sours or gozas, at least,
Huge fan of saisons. I love
Exactly.
saisons.
I also love saisons. They're absolutely my jam. So like, and this one was nice. And I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, and it was super tasty. Carolyn, you mentioned like people who like bitter things might like IPAs. I think you're right, and I think the natural fit for that is gin, so G&Ts into IPAs, because
But
IPAs
see,
are like,
I like G&Ts, but I don't like IPAs.
And I like
that's
IPAs,
weird, but not
and I
G&Ts.
don't like gin.
Okay, never mind. Theory debunked, whatever it is.
I mean, you could be right.
Like my husband likes
could be right.
gin and IPAs.
See,
Yeah.
there you go.
So
I like both
Do you know
too.
it's funny that I do like a gin and tonic, but I don't like tonic water on its own.
No,
that's
it's
fair.
gross.
Yeah, it is gross. It's, to me, it's gross.
Oh yeah.
It has that taste to it but with gin, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah. I like all the
But
things.
yeah, like IPAs for me were definitely an acquired taste.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
Definitely. And I still prefer a maltier beer. I still prefer an amber, for sure. I love a saison, like I said. I think a while back, I wish I could remember the brewery. Somebody, it might have been Rascals, it might have been somebody else, did a coconut porter, which was lovely because I cannot get enough of coconut. All things coconut, my jam.
Same. I love coconut.
I'm not a coconut fan. I do love anything with coffee
I'm not
in
a
it.
coconut fan either.
I love
don't like
smelling
coffee or
like coconut.
coconut.
I love eating coconut. Everything coconut is just, it makes me feel so happy.
So I can bring you all the bounties from the bottom of the box of Celebration after Christmas.
Yes, girl. Please do.
Hilary's like, yep. So great. Nobody eats those, so glad to know Hilary does.
Yeah, we can all save them up.
Coconut.
It's madness. So if we were now to think on Valentine's Day, right? Do any of you have any horror stories for like first dates or Tinder things gone wrong?
On Valentine's Day or just in general?
So many.
Because
I
got a plethora.
Okay, Carolyn, pick your worst and share it with us.
There's a
Yes,
bunch
I
of
need to
them,
hear
though.
this.
That's the
Spill the
problem.
tea, Carolyn.
I guess, okay, this is in college, so we're just gonna go with this one. So I went on a date with this guy in college, and he said, "Do you want to go to Cracker Barrel?" First off, I hate Cracker Barrel. Like, I hate
What is Cracker Barrel?
Like,
Okay,
it's
okay, Cracker Barrel. I have to jump in here. Cracker Barrel is not a first date restaurant. I just need to
No.
say this.
No,
Cracker
it's not.
Barrel is like a family style, like you pull off the highway on a road trip and yes,
It's
let's have
awful.
dinner at Cracker Barrel type of thing.
Yeah.
It's gross. I don't like it, but I was too tired to think of anything else. I was like, okay, whatever. We go there. And so we get there and he's like, oh, well, I already ate, so I'm just gonna get eggs. And I was like, okay, it's dinner time. This is weird.
Why would you go on a date if you'd already eaten? Or had he like another date lined up beforehand?
I guess
or-
because he worked out before or something. I don't know, something stupid, whatever. So I'm like,
Okay.
okay, cool. So I don't even remember what I ordered. I was just trying to get out of there as quickly as possible. So then he goes to pay. Now, mind you, we're in college, but the bill was not that much. He like paid with a gift card. And I was like, a gift card to Cracker Barrel. Like, you're paying a date with a gift card on a check that's probably less than $20. Like, come on, dude. Like, is that why you picked Cracker Barrel? Is because you got a gift card?
Yeah, that
He
must have
might
been
have
it.
had cash flow problems.
100%, Carolyn. 100%. That's why.
I get we were in college and broke, but that's just one of the stories. I'm sure I have many other ones.
So did he really not eat? Did he
I
just?
think like
He had eggs.
But that is food.
he had no money.
Like,
He had
no.
no money.
No.
Now that I think
he
about
couldn't
it.
afford anything more.
He probably tried to have something really cheap so that the gift card would go further. I feel sorry for him now.
Yeah, now I feel sorry for him now that I say that.
Oh, come on.
Now that it's like years gone by now, I'm like, okay.
But you look, you know what? You don't also have to go to a restaurant for a first date. Like, why don't you just go for a walk? You know,
Well, we
or
were in
something that's
college.
free.
Like, that was what you
Mm.
did. Or
Yeah, I
you like
suppose.
went out.
Well,
I mean, I
in
think there's some other
Ireland, like
ones.
when I was on the dating scene, like there was no dating scene. You went to a pub and you got drunk and you
Well,
and
right.
you ended up
I
chatting.
mean, yeah.
You chat. It was very organic and very natural. It wasn't like, oh, like you see in the American TV shows. Oh, we'll go for a date to a restaurant. That was
Well,
not
see,
a thing.
all my dates in Ireland were at pubs, except for one, because this was like in between the weird lockdown. So you like kind of had to go eat. You didn't really have, and it was like dark. It was like getting dark earlier, so you like kind of had to like pick one or the other.
So, Katie, you said that that everything happened just in the pubs back in that day.
Pretty
you've been
much.
married for a long time already.
Swiftly moving along.
Well, I met my husband not in a pub, but in a chemistry lab when we were in college together. He was the next.
That's cute.
Yeah, he shared
Aw.
the next fume hood to me when we were in
Aw.
fourth year in DCU. So
Cute.
Huh.
how romantic was that?
I met my current boyfriend in a pub.
Huh.
In Ireland, really, it's the done thing. You just go to the pub and you just start chatting to randomers, and that's how you
Yeah.
get to know people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say this much about the dating scene. When I was dating here, I was on Tinder.
Yeah.
Nobody ever wanted to meet up, ever.
Yep.
Nobody wanted to meet in person. They just wanted to text forever and send you dirty text messages and photographs of anatomy that you didn't want to see, right?
Dick
So-
pics.
Yeah, dick pics that you didn't ask for.
Uh,
Bumble was very much the same.
huh.
Plenty of Fish was, I had a guy that I went on a one date with, and then he completely ghosted me. So I was like, okay, I'm done here. And then I went to the beer market, which is in Christchurch area. I just happened to be out with a friend, and I met Chris there that night, and he came up and started talking to me, and he wasn't gross about it. He was just like, hi, I'm Chris. Like, what do you do? And he's just very, if you like, Katie and Thandi have met him, but he's just like a very chatty kind of, how's it going kind of guy, but not in a pervy, gross way. So with the result that I didn't even realize he was interested in me. I thought he was just talking because it was like, oh, what do you do? Oh, that sounds interesting. That kind of way. And then he asked me out and I was really surprised. So we exchanged phone numbers, and then it was Easter weekend in 2016. So it'll be 5 years this year.
That's cool.
Yeah. Ever since we've been together ever
nice.
since.
I sort of like the idea of like just meeting someone in a pub. Like for me, that feels like the best way to do it. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Carolyn, yeah, you were on the dating scene here. I mean, besides the fact that COVID really got in the way there.
Yeah, it was interesting because it's like coming from America and like everybody, every girl, every Irish girl, every American girl, even the guys were like, Irish guys are not going to tell you that they like you. You got to like pry it out of them. And I was like, okay, I don't have time for this. Like, I'm used to the American guys like being aggressive in the pubs and being like, hey, you're cute. Do you want a drink? Let's talk for a bit. Do you want to, like, regardless of whatever their intentions are, they will tell you up front. And it's like, this is what I want, X, Y,
What
Z.
about the shy guys? Shy guys, no go.
They don't exist in the US.
Yeah,
really?
they're all, I don't know. And like, I felt like in Ireland, they were all like kind of like a little bit more, they had to have a couple drinks before they like came up to you. Okay, well, not a couple, a lot. And like, even on like Bumble, Tinder, whatever, it was just like the same. I don't know. It was kind of annoying, but internet dating is an interesting thing. Same with Hilary, though. It was like, it's a minefield is how I put it. You might step on a good mine or a bad mine and it could blow up in your face.
I'm just kind of glad that I bypassed, like, I was like settled down before that all became a big thing and swipe left, swipe right.
Well, but here's the problem. We've created this hookup culture. You can get on an app and find someone to hook up with the same day. We've created this culture.
Theoretically, Carolyn, but so many of them don't ever want to meet you in person, which is what I find very strange.
Which why waste my time?
So I'd heard some stat. Now, don't go quoting me on this because it's probably not true, but I'd heard some stat that even though it seems like everybody should be hooking up more now because it's so much easier, people really aren't, because you're almost getting instant gratification by like dick pics and freaking texts, like sexting all the time, which is weird. Like it's almost as if people have gotten less extroverted, less social, because that stuff is already like at your fingertips, instead of having to be out meeting people, going through the hard work of like figuring out whether there's chemistry. Do you click? Are you, do you have the same values? All of that stuff. So I think a lot of people who just skip straight to the dirty bits, like they're, it's never going to go further
the dirty
than
bit.
that.
I think that's our episode title, straight to the dirty bits.
There we go.
Done.
But yeah. So dating's weird. I put it on hold for now.
Girl, I'm there with you 100%. It is
I don't
weird.
have time.
I really wouldn't like to be like, I have a son who's turning 20 next month, and I just can't imagine what it's going to be like for him.
So I can tell you.
So can I tell him to like, I hope that you have raised your sons to be in touch with their emotions, Katie. That's the only thing I will say.
And if you like a girl,
good.
Just tell her. If you don't like her, then tell her. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. I felt like that was the most annoying part of dating.
Tell her, because she probably likes you too.
Was that like, for example, I went one of my last dates in Ireland. I met up with this guy because we were trying to figure out where we could go that didn't require food, and we found one, and I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get them in trouble. So we met, and so we had a beer, and he was like, well, do you want to have another beer? Do you want to go for a walk? Because there was a park right there. We were near St. Stephen's Green, and And I was like, oh, I don't care, whatever. And then he like gets up and he's like, my stomach's not feeling well, and like walks out. I've never had that happen before. And I was like, okay, like this is weird, but whatever. So I like get home and like 5 hours later he goes, sorry, I just wasn't feeling it. I'm like, dude, I'm meeting you for the first time. Like, I didn't even respond to him, but he was like, sorry, I just didn't feel like we had a connection. I'm like, I just wanted someone to chill with. Like, I don't know what you were expecting, but I was just expecting somebody to chill with and talk to. Like, not necessarily a date.
I don't know if people know how to tell people that it's just not really for them or whatever, because normally like you can know straight off the bat within the first half an hour, like you kind of know whether there's potential or not. So why are we not just more honest with people and be like, hey, nothing against you, this just isn't my vibe?
Yeah,
Because
I'm a
like
grown adult. I can handle it.
yeah,
Right.
I
Like
think you'd
the
think
guy
that
that
though.
ghosted
Yeah.
on me, I would have
Mm,
preferred if he would have just said, "Hey, either A, I met somebody else," or so the situation was I met him and we went on a date, and it was right around Christmas time, and I was going to, so it was the year that I got separated from my husband, and I was kind of vulnerable anyway,
mm,
and I was spending um 2 weeks with my mom in Florida for Christmas because I kind of just felt like I needed my mom.
mm,
And we went on a date beforehand, and it was like, like 2 weeks. Okay, I'm going to Florida for 2 weeks. Like, can you not deal with that or whatever? But he was texting me every single day up until Christmas and then stopped, completely ghosted. And it really irritated me. And like, he was definitely not for me anyway, for a number of reasons, but again,
mm.
vulnerable, whatever. But so it really bothered me. And then and then he blocked me on WhatsApp, even though
Like,
I
it's
I, I hadn't even been texting him, and he just blocked me.
Hmm.
So like all I did was said was like Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas, whatever. And then so I just sent him a regular text message saying, "Hey, you're clearly not interested, so we're not going to take this further." And I just felt I needed to do that for my own closure.
Mm.
But it just bugs me. It's like, why can't you just tell me
yeah.
if you're not interested anymore, or I've been gone too long or whatever?
It's it's a weird thing though. Like um, back back a while ago now, while I was in college or varsity, I was kind of like with this guy for a while. We went on we hung out for a couple of weeks. It wasn't like really long or anything, but obviously I'd fallen quite hard. Anyway, after a while, he also just basically ghosted me, and I was like, "This is so confusing," and all of that. Like, and I don't know what I did wrong, and that sort of thing. Now, I was venting to my mum, and my dad came in, and he'd obviously heard everything, and he's like, "Thandi, he doesn't owe you anything. You are not actually." Like a boyfriend or girlfriend for any significant time. You are not married. Like, he doesn't owe you anything. And I was like, I thought about that for a long time actually. And I thought about like, maybe that's true. And maybe there's a certain time period in which a person doesn't actually owe you anything. Maybe you actually go on a first date or even go on 2 or 3, and then it's just like, whatever. It doesn't need to be a formal closure thing, maybe. But I think that when it's gone a little further than just hanging out, I feel like that's when it does
Yeah.
mean that you should say something.
I mean, I slept with him, so
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean,
so I
I
feel
just
like
feel
the
like
least he could have done was tell me
No,
I feel like
exactly.
I'm not interested.
yeah. I feel like
Exactly.
it's a respect thing too. Like,
Mm,
just be respectful of the person's time. Like, if you've, like, say, talked
mm,
to them for a month and then you finally went out on a first
Exactly.
date and you weren't feeling it, you wasted my time for a month. Like, I could have been, and like, men and women, we just need to respect each other and just say, look, I don't like you, or hey, I like you, and see where it goes. I don't
mm,
know. That's just my opinion. Like, it's just a respect thing because we're all human
Totally agree.
beings. Like, I respect you enough to tell. Like, I had to, the last date I went on, I talked to this guy for almost a month. We finally went out because it was COVID times, weird times. Then he like ghosted me. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to get an answer out of him because I wasted a month talking to this fool. I'm not going to, like, just not. So I like had to like pry it out of him. And he's like, oh, I met somebody else. Let's be friends. So I was like, okay, whatever. Like, but I just like, I was like, I wasted my time. I want an answer. I'm not like, I'm a very direct person. I don't like people who pussyfoot around. Like, give me, you either like me or you don't. Tell me. I'm an adult. I can handle it. I didn't really like him anyways. I just wanted the satisfaction of making him tell me that because he wasted my time for a month. You texted me every day and you wasted my time. And then you decide after we got on a date, you're going to ghost me. No, I don't play that game. Like,
Agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will teach my son these lessons, my sons these things, and that it's okay to say, listen, I had a nice time, but I'm not feeling the chemistry.
It is, and that's fine. It's a respect thing. In my opinion, it's a respect.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's respect.
Yeah. It's actually, it's weird because it translates into a lot of other things, you know. With my son who's only 10, you know, he if he's got friends that want to play with him and he's not in the mood, he's had to learn now to say, I'm not in the mood to play, or whatever, instead of saying, no, sorry, I can't, my mum says no, or whatever, like almost lying instead of just being honest. It was hard. And I still, sometimes he still sort of freezes when he just needs to own it. But I think that we do have a real problem of just being honest. Sometimes, it doesn't even have to be radical honesty. It doesn't have to be brutal. It just needs to be honesty. You know, you can still, I don't know, figure out a nice way to do it. Yeah.
I think we do that because we don't want to hurt each other's feelings.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's totally valid. But at the same time, I'm one of those people, I want you to be straight up with me whether it hurts my feelings or not. Like, if it hurts my feelings,
Me
so be it.
too.
That's
I
not
move
your
on with my
problem. That's
life.
my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want
But
to
just in
move on.
general, like,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily applies to dating. That's in general.
And
No,
I
I
think
think that's true.
maybe it's an Irish thing that the Irish kind of say, oh yeah, I'll do that, and they never do it. You know, it's like
Maybe.
They just don't want to tell you that they're not going to do it, or they don't want to feel like they're letting you down, or I don't know. It's like, how many times, like, trying to get my fuse box redone, and the amount of electricians that are like, yeah, I'll be there now, and I'll come and I'll give you a quote, and they never turn up, and you're like, just tell me you can't
You're like,
come. You know?
Oh, poor Katie.
I know.
Okay, we have been on a journey today, which was a lot of fun for all of us. But we have come to the end of our episode. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me today. As for us in the Beer Ladies podcast, you can find us on social media, facebook.com/Beer Ladies Podcast, Twitter @Beer Ladies Pod, and Instagram Beer Ladies Podcast. We will be back next week. Until then, cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.